Morning, this is Brian. Today is Wednesday, July 23rd, 2025. And I'm here at Mission Trails Regional Park, parked at the end of Big Rock Road. Today, my plan is to get up to Cowles Mountain today from the Big Rock Trail. Sorry if I'm kind of hard to hear, but I'm parked at the end of a residential street, so I'm trying not to be too loud. So that's the end of Big Rock Road right there. So it's been quite a while, but finally heading up there, Cowles Mountain. Right up there. That's what the backside of Cowles Mountain looks like. So I'm gonna try it from here. Been up to Cowles Mountain a couple times. First time was from Big Rock Park on Mesa Road. I hiked along Mesa Road, then connected with the Mesa Road to the Mesa Trail to Big Rock Road, or Big Rock Trail like I'm taking now, and connected with the road, service road, to get up there. So, been a while since I've been to Cowles. Done quite a few hikes in Mission Trails, and did a hike not that long ago as well, starting in Mission Trails. So yeah, it should be a pretty interesting morning. Look at that blue elder right there. Pretty handsome blue elder. So instead of starting at Big Rock Park, I'm starting at Big Rock Road. Big Rock Park is on Mesa Road. There's a huge shrub over there. I can't tell what it is from here, but it's massive. Wish the trail would go over there. There's no way in heck. Oh God, I wish there were a trail getting over there. There's no way in heck that's a hollyleaf cherry. There's no way in heck those are hollyleaf cherries over there. I think those are hollyleaf cherries. I think that's what those are. Can't get close enough to see, but yeah, those look like humongous hollyleaf cherries right there. Can't tell 100%, but I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Right there and over there. Those ain't manzanitas. They don't look like mission manzanitas. The leaves, from what I can see over here, those looks like the profile of the leaves look like hollyleaf cherries. Those are huge. That is crazy. All right, so we've got a trail intersection very short into this hike. This must be coming from the Mesa Trail over here, I think. I don't know, maybe this is a use trail. Oh, I think this comes up from near Mesa Road. Ooh, some quail. Those are California quail. But yeah, I think this might come from Mesa Road. It's not the Mesa Trail. Mesa Trail should be a little further up. And this is going to be a really pretty hike, I can tell. I've never done Cowles from this side over here. I've done it from, like I said, I've done it from Mesa Road. Hiked along Mesa Road from Big Rock Park. But this is the Big Rock Road trailhead, which is a little further back, or a little further off to the side. So it's very beautiful out here, I'll tell you that. This should be a pretty nice hike. It's kind of warm and muggy out. the marine layer. I was almost going to go to Cuyamaca Rancho and try my next hike up to Cuyamaca Peak from the West Mesa Trailhead, Cuyamaca Rancho, but I don't know if that'd probably be a double-digit mileage hike, and I was going to do it last week, but I didn't do anything. Just last week was not a hiking week for some reason, so I didn't, unfortunately. Now I'm here, gentle rolling hills here. Yeah. Starts off pretty gently, but I know it'll definitely pick up. Yeah, when I hike the same peaks repeatedly, I like to do them from different directions. Just makes it interesting. One thing I remember about, I'm going to be taking Big Rock Road, or Big Rock Trail. There's going to be a lot of huge Mission Manzanitas. Right like that right there. That's a big one. Going to be quite a few of those along my route. Especially when we head up more into the chaparral, a little higher up. It's going to get very, very juicy. I did a hike back in October 2022 when I was still dividing my hikes into separate video clips. So this should be one whole cohesive video this time. All right, I'm going to keep working my way up, get some photos, and keep you posted. Yep. Started entering the huge Mission Manzanitas. Yeah. I picked up this trail later on, past where the Mesa Trail picks up, but this is what I'm talking about. Big Rock Trail. Huge Mission Manzanitas here. Some massive Mission Manzanitas. So, yeah. That was one of the biggest things I remember about hiking a Big Rock Trail was this environment here. Massively big Mission Manzanitas all along this trail. So this is exactly what I remember. Only when I picked it up, it was a little bit further up. If I remember correctly, the Mesa Trail should have some pretty big ones too. But these are huge. Look at this. Yeah. These are as big as our Arctostaphylos species manzanitas up in our mountains. Those can get huge, especially pinkback and bigberry, which are in the genus Arctostaphylos. These are related, but these are Xylococcus bicolor. And also, occasionally get some absolutely humongous chamise. Adenostoma fasciculatum, variety fasciculatum with a shreddy bark. These things get massive over here too. Darn near, it's almost the size of small trees. Yeah. So, it's one of the reasons Big Rock Trail is one of my favorite routes to Cowles Mountain. It's longer. I think a little bit more elevation gain, I believe. It's longer, and it's extremely scenic. And I've been up Cowles Mountain from the Mesa Trail and Big Rock Trail. This time, Big Rock Trail. And then another time from Barker Way. This is where you get the gargantuan Mission Manzanitas. This is absolute insanity. I love it so much. I love these huge ones on more of a northeast facing slope right now. All right. This will definitely be a pretty good photo op day. When I did this trail last time, I did Big Rock Trail, the Mesa Trail. I took pictures, but I didn't include them because I didn't know how to use the videos editing software at the time to make cohesive videos, or I hadn't tried yet. This time it's going to be different. So hopefully I can make this video a little even more interesting for those chaparral lovers out there. So this part of the trail, despite it being a chaparral, this is technically chaparral. This isn't forest or woodland, but it feels like forest and woodland. You'll get some shade. One of those seemingly rare instances where hiking in the chaparral will be shady. So enjoy it. Enjoy these massive chamises, Mission Manzanitas, and whatever else I may find on this trail. Time for some photos of this beautiful place. Alright, so I've been climbing for a little bit, taking several pictures of this chaparral here. That's just gorgeous. Get some views starting to open up towards northwestern Santee. Santee is where I started the hike. Down looking at the 52 freeway down there. And over there, that small range of hills, that's where Santee boulders are. Those boulders there. That was a pretty interesting hike. And if you're a rock climber and good rock scrambler, you can have some fun trying to get up those boulders. Pretty cool. I've been over there hiking and have a video for that from last April. Hiked up to a couple small hills above them, and then I poked around and checked out the boulders after, looking for plants and wildlife. And that was a pretty enjoyable hike, as is this. Chaparral's thinned out a bit here, but further down, boy, felt like I was hiking in a dwarf forest. Really enchanted. I know a lot of people probably denigrate chaparral as a hot-baked landscape and offering little interest as opposed to the forests and stuff, but I'm here to tell you, yeah, chaparral is a very sun-baked land, but it's very intricate and very beautiful, and I very much love chaparral. I really do. Just like I love the taller oak woodlands and forests and the pines and cedars and firs up in the mountains. It's all just a part of a widely varied landscape here in Southern California. Something to be appreciated, at least in my book. And there are a lot of people who do love it too. And for those who may not be as crazy about it, if those people see my videos, hopefully I can help paint it in a more positive light. Because it is beautiful. Chaparral is a beautiful place. I've had a lot of great hiking experiences in the Chaparral. Plan is to continue having beautiful hiking experiences in the Chaparral, just like I do in wooded and forested areas. Interesting wildlife, beautiful wildflowers, and nice diversity of shrub and small tree cover. The trail's melted out a little bit for now. A couple of decent leaves, not super steep, but definitely some moderate pulls up the way. But temperature I say is about 65, so it's kind of muggy and balmy. So I'm kind of sweating now. But let's see what else we find as I keep climbing up this trail. All right, I'll keep you posted. See what else I find. All right, so I'm just about to hit a junction with the, I believe the Mesa Trail should be coming up. Yeah, just as I suspected. So that's how I came up. The first time I did Cowles Mountain was up this way. That's where I joined the Big Rock Trail to take me back. So let's see. This should be familiar territory. Just under half a mile, I think, is where I link up with the Cowles Mountain Service Road, which will take me the rest of the way to the summit. It'll be a wide open fire road or service road. Man, beautiful hike here, I'll tell you that. Very beautiful vibe here. Alright. I'll keep you posted, especially when I'm at the fire road. I think I'm probably take a few pictures here. Alright. Look at these canyon views. Yeah, this is beautiful. Oh, wow. So yeah, a couple of my previous pictures was taking pictures of Cowles, my main destination for today. Then there's the unnamed Peak 1399, which is an unnamed peak on Peak Bagger, also known as Peak 1380. It was 1380 to 1,420 feet before Peak Bagger used LiDAR. Somebody used LiDAR to get the elevation of 1399. And over there is Pyles Peak, way off in the hills up there. Ooh, and there's a wonderful breeze right now because I am sweating. It's not, like I said, it's not hot out here. It's just the dew point's probably in the 60s right now. Temperature's in the 60s. So it's balmy. So I'm pretty sweaty right now. I wouldn't say this is an easy trail. According to the Mission Trails Regional Park trail rating system, this is what they call it. This is what they know as a difficult trail. This is one of their difficult trails. So this, well, all in all, this hike for most hikers would be, I'd say, rated in the moderate category. If you're a beginner hiker you might find this a little more challenging if you're not acclimated to elevation gain. Another big mission manzanita right here. Some of these mission manzanitas have humongous trunks on them. Unbelievably big trunks. These are such beautiful plants. Dang, look at that. Wow, man. Yeah, so this is the kind of scenery you'll be enjoying here on the Big Rock Trail. Alright, time to keep climbing. Basically see when I get to the service road or if something really interesting pops up. Alright. Just about to join the service road. Right over here. Here's the Cowles Mountain Service Road. Right over here. So we're going to turn right. Follow steeply uphill to the summit. Yep. So this is where I came. This will lead over towards Barker Way. Here's the Big Rock Trail. See, at the base, this was rated difficult. This is rated moderate because it's going downhill. And it's not extremely steep at all. It's steep in spots, of course, but it's not extremely steep. Now we're going to follow the service road the rest of the way up there. Alright. The road's pretty steep, so just take your time. Unless you're a marathoner type who likes to run up mountains. I don't like running up mountains. I can't run up mountains. So I'll walk them up. I'll walk them up. So let's see. Haven't seen Cowles Mountain for a while. Okay, I can see it now. It's popping up over here. I think we still have a few hundred feet to go. About 400 feet, roughly. 400, 450 feet of climbing. For this, it's just right up that road. That's all it is. On Fire Road or Service Road. The rest of the way. I don't think we're that far from a peak bagger summit. Peak 1199. I think it's over here. But I don't know if we're technically allowed to go there. Peak bagger users do it. Yeah. Or rent it. Yeah. It's up here, but technically not supposed to do it, so I was tempted, but there's a take out sign there. I'm going to follow the rules of the park. I'm going to follow the rules and be a good boy. As much as I'd like to get a small peek in, I'm just going to leave it alone and keep my good boy bit going. But yeah, peak 1199 is just up here. But again, it's off limits, so you're not supposed to hike to it. All right, on to Cowles. So, shortly after you join the Cowles Mountain Service Road, and you get near where I shot that clip of the gate, that little gated section, keeping you from getting up to peak 1199, you get a short downhill. Very short, very gentle downhill. So when you're on the way back out from this hike, it shouldn't be anything extenuating. You have a very short, very easy uphill stretch, and kind of gave me a break from the pretty consistent, mostly consistent uphill grade. There were a couple of very brief, just a couple of, and not very many of them, they're very short, but a couple, so maybe less than a handful of very brief level stretches when you're coming up Big Rock Trail. So it's about 98% uphill on the Big Rock Trail with one small downhill section. Very small, very short. Only lasts probably half a minute. There's about 98% uphill, which when you're going back, it'll be 98% downhill. Maybe 1% uphill and 1% level. So we're getting ready to come across a trail junction here. I think this is one of the Barker spurs. I think. So there are a couple of spur trails branching off from the Barker Trail, the Barker Way Trail, which is down there roughly somewhere. Yeah, this is the West Spur. Here's the Barker Spur West. It's just under a third of a mile to get to the actual Barker Trail. Sometimes you get these little cutoffs that get you to the service road in different locations along the road. You get the Barker Spur West, I think there's a Barker Spur East, and I think there's also, I know there's also the Barker Trail. The Barker Trail actually joins up with the Cowles Mountain Trail coming up from Navajo and Golf Crest. So if you're taking the Barker Way Trail and not taking the spurs, if you don't take the spurs, you're actually going to join up with the really popular Cowles Mountain Trail that comes up from Navajo and Golf Crest roads down in San Carlos neighborhood of San Diego. Barker Way is pretty popular too, but I would say the main Cowles Mountain Trailhead at Navajo and Golf Crest is by far the most popular and one of the most direct ways up. I chose a less direct way up because I wanted a little more distance and a little more elevation gain. Okay, we have another small downhill right here. Enough about that. So yeah, that was a Barker Spur West, and there should be a Barker Spur East, if I remember correctly, a little further up. Now you can see this. Now you can tell that the summit's hidden from view again, because we did go down a small dip here, which we're gonna reclimb, and then this we're gonna start getting steeper again. for most of the rest of the way up. All right, well, let's see what happens. Probably check in probably where I see either wildlife, plant, or the Barker Spur East connector. See what I see. Oh yeah. There we go. There it is. Cowles Mountain. Getting close. Got a brief level stretch here too. There's the Barker Spur West. I guess the other one was the Barker Spur East. Makes sense. Here's the other Barker Spur right here. The actual Barker Trail is only just under a quarter of a mile down. Yeah. But they're not seeing Cowles Mountain from the Santee side. You can see a big area of cliff band action right there, which has always been really cool to see. Get a picture of that. All right. Just remember when you're doing this on the steep fire road or service road, just take your time. Enjoy the views. They're very nice. Not gonna lie. Also some more very interesting rock features over here too. On this side by the power lines. Look at that. That's so neat. Beautiful stuff. Take your time and enjoy it. You don't need to race other hikers to get to the top. You don't, unless that's your bag. If that's what you like to do, you know, you do what you got to do. Do what you want to do. But just remember, you don't have to. Enjoy this at your own pace. If you want to go fast, and you can, go for it. If you want to go slow like me, go slow like me. All right. See you on the next clip. I think I'm what's on probably the steepest part of this hike. This stretch here. Ooh wee. Once you get near these power lines, before you get into them, it starts getting really steep. I think this is the angle. Pretty steep. It's steeper than the trails. Good workout. There's that rocky section right here. We're right next to it now. Look at that. What a cool vantage point right here. More trails down that way. Barker Way trailhead is just about down there. Down there somewhere. I can see the service road where it starts. That's part of the Barker Way trail system right there. So yeah, trailhead, if you want to come up Barker Way, it's just down there on Barker Way. And that street parallel to it, I think it's Cowles Mountain Boulevard, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Cool views. One thing about Cowles Mountain. Good views and pretty nice scenery along the way up there. All right. Let's see. Much further before the summit, I'm not sure yet. Shouldn't be that much longer, honestly. Shouldn't be too much longer, I don't think. Maybe a few more minutes. But again, depending on your goals, you can make this a really fast, beat your record time type of hike, or you can just stroll it like I am, enjoying the views as you go on. And that's what I plan to do. All right, I should be nearing the summit within the next, probably next 10 minutes, and I'll see basically when I'm just about there, unless something else interesting pops up that needs to be pointed out. That was a California scrub jay, Philocoma californica obscura. Just about to summit right now. The actual summit's over here. Might be doing my viewpoint on this side here. There are a bunch of people up here. All right. That's a rented right there. That bird, Kamaya fasciata. Wow, look at that. What a beautiful little bird. Yep, that's the rented Kamaya fasciata. The rented. bird much more oftenly heard than seen. All right, let's go find the high point. Surprised there aren't 20, 30 people up here when I come here. Usually about 20, 30 people here on Cowles Mountain. There's a mourning dove now. Hello, buddy. Just hunting and pecking around on the summit. What's up, buddy? Buddy. Sorry, buddy. I mean to disturb you, but I'm going to try to hit this high point here. All right. This is it. Cowles Mountain. 1,591 feet. This is the summit right here. Before it gets too busy up here, let me try to get some views. Start by looking east. Out in the haze. Hard to see, but that's over by Dehesa Benchmark. This is the city of La Mesa over here. There's El Cajon and Gillespie Field. As I swing it around to the northeast, you can see the Powell Range kind of partially in the marine layer. Iron Mountain. And it's looking over towards Woodson Mountain, which is in the clouds. Swing around north towards the towers. To the northwest, Miramar Marine Corps Air Station. And over there is North Fortuna Mountain, right there. Quaipai, South Fortuna. Now we're going to look west towards Soledad Mountain in La Jolla. Now we're going to look west-southwest towards downtown San Diego. Then Lake Murray and La Mesa. Swing it around to the south, San Miguel Mountain, Mount Helix. I can see Lions Peak. Pretty good views, but the marine layer is pretty heavy. Actually, that peak over there, that's Pyles. That's Pyles Peak. So that's Pyles. Quaipai's behind it. See the 52 freeway down there. Pretty good views up here, of course. More wren-tits. You hear that rattling sound? That's a wren-tit bird. Yeah, wren-tits make rattling sounds and ping-pong like chirping sounds. Gosh, I love those birds. You see, maybe be able to see kind of flitting around in the bushes. See if we can get a little closer without making it flee. We got a bunch of other birds flitting around too. That rattling sounds kind of like a warning sound, I guess, for other birds that they're bigger animals in the area, I think, is what that sound is. I'm literally 3.5 feet away from this bird. I love these birds. Trying to see if I can see it. It's so funny. I love it. There it is. That is another rentet. Kamaya fasciata. Those are such fun birds. The voice of the chaparral, ladies and gentlemen. Here on Cowles Mountain Summit. I don't usually see these birds too often. Hear them all the time. The ones that go. That's how they sound like when they're chirping. Cool. All right. I'll just poke around for a few minutes. Saw the benchmark. I just saw it. I'll find it really quickly and show you. There's a triangulation benchmark. Pretty cool. Too bad this sign is so dilapidated. Yep, highest point Mission Trails and San Diego proper. Yep, looking down towards La Mesa again. Looking south. Yeah. I basically had this summit to myself for about half a minute before I started filming the 360 views, the viewfinder. I was the only one on the summit for maybe about a minute, which is weird. Usually whenever I'm here, 20 people plus up here. Good views up here, I'll tell you that. Almost tempted to go a little further. Let's see. I'm gonna poke around for a few minutes. Get some pictures too. Alright, I think I'm gonna go to the towers. Now, for those so inclined, if you want to go to the Pyles Peak viewpoint, or Peak 1399, or Pyles Peak, this is your turnoff on the west side of the peak. If you want to go to Pyles Peak, that is kind of in the back of my mind. I've only been on Pyles once, and that was coming up from Barker Way to Cowles Mountain, then to Pyles Viewpoint, or Peak 1399, or Peak 1380, and then to Pyles, of course. I'm thinking about it. It'd be about a 3-mile round trip from the trail, that little trailhead there. So it'll probably be about a 5.5 more miles of hiking, depending on how I feel about it. Let's see. All right, here's the. Ooh, heard a California quail calling off in there. I actually could hear it over the noise of the machinery up here. Alright, so a little fenced in thing right there. So this is the backside of it. I guess there used to be a trail here back in the day. Yeah, look at the views down here. This is a beautiful view right here. This is a gorgeous view. Wow, that is incredible. Gosh. I'm tempted. Here's a California quail right there. Right there. Calipepla californica. California quail. That's the bird I heard calling them. I can't make that sound very good. Yeah, there's a California quail and this beautiful laurel sumac, Malosma lorina. There are quite a few of these on the way up here. Not as numerous as they are in other spots. Yeah, it's in bloom up here near the radio towers, just under Cowles Mountain. It's time for a new set of batteries, though. Got a California scrub jay right there. A Phelocoma californica obscura. There we go. Look at that. It's got a lot of gray in it. A lot of gray, more blue towards the back of the wings and the tail. This one's got a lot more gray. Wow, look at that. That handsome bird. Beautiful bird. Over here, a little corral or something up here. I don't know what this is. Some random rock pile over here too. I don't know what that's all about. Interesting. And this is the summit area. All right, wow. Got to see a couple wren tits, some beautiful scrub jays. All right. Kind of tempted to go for Pyles Peak today. Kind of tempted to do it. This just goes right to the service towers. Well, let's see. I think I'm going to go for it. Get some miles in. So, I'm going to branch off on the Pyles Peak Trail. Let's see how this goes today. All right, it should be interesting. This will be the second time I've done this, but this will be a little bit longer way this time. So I'm gonna start working my way on this one. Okay, let's see what we find. Any more wildlife sightings? We'll see. All right, away I go. See you on the next clip. Right over towards there. Pyles Peak. Right there at the end there. All right. I go. So basically, with this hike entails going to Pyles Peak requires summiting 3 things: Cowles Mountain, Pyles Peak, and then just basically resummiting Cowles Mountain on the way back. So it's basically 3 summiting activities, adding the viewpoint peak, or peak 1399, 1380, 1399 and 1380, referencing the same peak, because it's between 1380 and 1420 in elevation, and it's been recently checked out as being 1399 in elevation. So if you want to do that, do peak 1399, Pyles and Cowles, you'd basically be summiting 4, doing 4 summits, basically. You're summiting Cowles. You may as well, you're right there. You may as well just take that short little 1-minute walk to the summit. Then go to the Pyles Peak Trail, cut across, hit peak 1399 right there, and then hit Pyles over there, and then on the way back you'll basically be resummiting Cowles Mountain. So it's almost like 4 summits, but it's 3 different summits. Just one of them you're basically hitting twice. So on the way back, this will be a pretty decent uphill climb of a good few hundred feet. So I'm glad I packed a lot more water. I packed a lot of water for this one. I wasn't really originally planning on going all the way to Pyles, though of course it's always in the back of my mind. But I've only been to Pyles Peak once. I've only been there once. I always wanted to get back. Last time I went was almost 2.5 years ago, end of January. I have a video for that. It's on my channel if interested. And that's where I came up a shorter distance up from Barker Way Trailhead. Barker Trail, Barker Way Trail to the Cowles Mountain Trail to the summit, then down the Pyles Peak Trail and back. So I kind of want to get back there again. It's been a long time. So today's the day. And I'll take you along. Probably should try to make good time before it gets hot later. Let's see, let's get this moving. See you along the way for updates on this beautiful hike. So we're heading through some of the luscious scenery here on this side. Here's something interesting. Look at this Mission Manzanita. It's a single trunk, almost like a single trunk tree. Look at that. That's cool. It's a single trunk Mission Manzanita, like a little miniature tree. That's pretty neat. And we got narrow leaf bedstraw with his little seeds. Gallium angustifolium, subspecies angustifolium. Of course, I can't forget mentioning one plant I didn't see a whole lot of on the way up or on the way down here, but there is some of it. Lemonade berry, Bruce integrifolia. And last time I was here was at the end of January. This is already starting to bloom. This is Ceanothus tomentosus, woolly Ceanothus. And it was blooming already. Here's a nice upright lemonade berry right here. Man, look at all. Yeah, there's a lot of Ceanothus tomentosus here. A lot of it. I actually did a spotlight video the same day I did Pyles Peak, and I did my spotlight somewhere, I think along the Pyles Peak Trail, was it? I think it was along the Pyles Peak Trail, I believe. Or it was somewhere. It was somewhere on the hike. Either that or on one of the other trails, but I remember doing a spotlight video that same day. It just had to happen. But yeah, this stretch here is just lush. People from other states, like if there are people from watching my videos from other states, especially on the eastern half towards the east coast or whatever, looking lush, it's all brush. This is pretty lush for our standards. I mean, it's a very densely clothed slope covered in really thick chaparral. The chaparral is almost the size of trees in spots. I think it's pretty lush. Yeah, I remember the last time I was here back in 2023 during an incredibly wet, rainy season, one of the wettest ones ever. There was a spot along this trail where I actually saw a little cascade coming down one of these gullies. Let's see if I can remember where I saw it. It was, oh, I think it was along here somewhere. I think I was looking from somewhere over there. Looking at it there, I think it was down there, that gully. I think this is where I saw water trickling down. That was really cool to see, a little cascade in the middle of semi-arid San Diego. I'm on the San Diego side of Cowles Mountain now. But yeah, I just remember the views down these little side canyons, these little gullies that lead down towards the neighborhoods. There's some really cool little side canyons here, and I remember that from last time. I just thought it was incredibly beautiful. And it still is. The only thing that's changed is I'm doing this during the dry season when it's not as wet, obviously. But still, this is a magnificent canyon view. I'm getting pretty close to the saddle already between Cowles Mountain and Peak 1399. I'm just going to call it Peak 1399 from now on my older videos, other videos referencing that peak, whether it's on another peak looking at it on my viewfinder or actually at it. You'll see me refer to it as Peak 1380 plus 1380 to 1420 in elevation. But I guess going forward, I'm just going to call it Peak 1399. I think on the Mission Trails map, there's a map. I think it lists it as 1,399 feet. So from now on, we're just going to call that Peak 1399. So if you see my other videos referencing Peak 1380 at Mission Trails, you need to know to which I'm referring, which is Peak 1399 now. Yeah, you'll notice if you've used the Peak Bagger database, like I use extensively to research known peaks, lesser known peaks, random peaks, you'll notice that if you're an avid researcher on that site, you'll notice that the elevations on a lot of these peaks have changed. For instance, Cowles Mountain has been for the longest time known as an elevation of 1,591. Some people listed it as 1,592 feet. Peak Bagger shows it as 1,590. Go figure. Yeah. But alright, that's enough yapping. I'm going to pass by this chaparral yucca and I'm going to start getting some photos because this is a very photogenic spot. Okay, so now I'm at that saddle. I'm at that saddle between Cowles and Peak 1399. So now the downhill travel is done, and now it's time to start going back uphill. So basically, I don't know if you haven't seen my other video or don't remember, because I've got so many videos out there. I'm going to go up, and then there's going to be a little spur trail that branches off to the right that ascends the summit, Peak 1399. So when you're hiking up, if you want to visit it as a side trip on the way to Pyles, to or from Pyles, just keep a lookout. I think it's a little more than halfway between Cowles and Pyles, I believe. So just keep a lookout. There'll be a sign. It'll be signed. At least when I went up, there's a sign pointing to it. And you just go up this short spur trail. It'll get you to the peak. So keep an eye for it if you want to visit it. Obviously, if you're coming back, it'll be on your left. If you're visiting it after Pyles Peak. All right, let's get this moving. Very beautiful part of the regional park. Yeah, that's where I saw the cascade last time. Again, down those granite slabs. That was cool. All right, away I go for more adventures here on the Pyles Peak Trail. So I'm trudging along. Here's a small false summit here. I see a sign not that far away, which is probably where the turnoff is to Peak 1399. Yeah, I remember this little false summit here. I wish there were a trail to the top of that. There's a sign up ahead, and there's Pyles Peak over there. So I should be at that sign pretty soon. Should be getting up to it. Alright, so as I said, I'm pretty close. Just under 3/4 of a mile hiking distance from Pyles, and there's a little Pyles Peak Corral, which is just under a half mile. And you notice there's this faded sign underneath. It says viewpoint, and there's an arrow. This is our use trail to get to the top of Peak 1399. So this is our spur trail. This will be a relatively short hike, and see you when I'm just about up there. Should be nearing the top of this very soon. Very short walk up here. It's a pretty easy side trip, to be honest with you. Yep. This is it right here. Now the actual highest point is just over there. But I'm not going to bushwhack off the trail because I respect Mission Trails too much. I love it here. But yep, this is it. Peak 1399. There's a summit register. Interesting. I guess I'm going to have to sign it. But first, I'm just going to give you a quick 360. Take my summit selfie. The views are pretty limited here because of the tall shrubs, but to me, it just means I get to look at the shrubs. So here's a 360. Start by looking north, going counterclockwise, west towards La Jolla, going south towards Cowles Mountain, southeast towards Cleveland National Forest, east into more Chaparral, back to the north. Okay, time for a summit selfie. I'm going to check out that summit register. I had no choice. I had to sign that. I mean, we always have a choice, but I just felt I had to sign that little summit register. Yeah, last time I was here, there wasn't a summit register. That's a pretty new one. It's from, I think, from May or a little bit earlier. Yeah, you probably, I don't know if you could read the chicken scratch in my writing, but I just signed my name, I dated it, and I referred to the person above me who signed "This hike is lit." So I wrote, "Yes, I agree," circled it, and pointed to that comment where it said, "This hike is lit." It is lit. It is. It's an awesome hike. So this is Peak 1399, Pyles View. You can't even see Pyles Peak until you get over here, which is that peak in the foreground. If you look carefully, let me zoom in a little bit. That peak behind it, it's just barely the very top of it. That's South Fortuna Mountain over there. That's South Fortuna Mountain over there. I'm gonna have to do that hike again too. Did I say South Fortuna or did I say North Fortuna? I hope I said North Fortuna. I hope I said North Fortuna. It's North Fortuna Mountain. I don't know if I said north or south, but it's North Fortuna Mountain. If I said South Fortuna Mountain, I'm so embarrassed with myself on that one. I don't know why I do that all the time. I don't know why I do that. Oh, I didn't notice this the first time I was here. There's actually an Eastwood manzanita up here. Oh, wait a minute. No, wait, hold up. Is this hairy? Yeah. It's not glandular hairy. I'm going to double check this subspecies of Eastwood manzanita. I wonder if this is subspecies crassifolia, the Del Mar one. I'll have to double check it. Right now, I know it's a species of Eastwood manzanita. I know we have Eastwood manzanita over by North Fortuna on the north slope. If you're taking the North Fortuna Summit Trail coming up from the north, you'll see a couple Eastwoods over there. I know that's a subspecies of Eastwood, but it's non-glandular hairy. It's got a little bit of pubescence on it. The twigs are non-glandular hairy. Now, Arctostaphylos glandulosa, the name glandulosa refers to its glandular nature. And not all the subspecies of Arctostaphylos glandulosa exhibit the same level of glandular hairiness. So that could, yeah. I'll have to double check. I think it's definitely a subspecies of it, but I gotta double check. Because I don't know if Del Mar manzanita grows this far inland. Because it felt relatively smooth at first. I was thinking, no way, big berries up here. But, that's always a possibility. But the leaves were shaped more like Eastwood. And I see the slight hairiness on the twigs. Big berry manzanita is pretty much glabrous or hairless. So, I have to double check on that. But away I go. At least we do have a species of Arctostaphylos on this part, too. Pretty neat. All right, see you down the way. Be back at the regular trail, and then I'm going to turn right to continue on the Pyles Peak Trail. It's over there. Before I go, though, this peak is actually slightly higher than Pyles Peak. Believe it or not. This is actually Peak 1399 is the second highest peak in Mission Trails Regional Park, behind Cowles Mountain, obviously. Pyles Peak is about 1,379 feet, so that's about 20 feet lower. I don't know what Peak Bagger says now. I haven't checked it. but tradition holds that Pyles Peak is 1,379 feet. I'll stick with that for now. So this peak is actually 20 feet higher. So the prominence between the prominence prize, in other words, the distance above the saddle, elevation difference, it's going to turn right here. This is the Pyles Peak Trail, so we're turning right. So this peak, 1399, is more prominent than Pyles Peak because it's higher. It has higher prominence above its saddle, I believe. But enough about that. It's time to keep on trekking while the weather is relatively nice and comfortable. I know on the way back it'll probably be a sweaty climb out. All right, away I go. See you along the way. You may have noticed in that last picture, that was another manzanita. There's definitely more manzanita. I don't know how the heck, I don't remember noticing any Arctostaphylos species the first time I hiked over here, but we got some more going down this canyon. That's another eastwood manzanita right there too. Another subspecies of it. Here's a plant. It's a hemiparasite. It's called bird's beak. Yes. Cordylanthus rigidus subspecies setigerus. It's a hemiparasitic annual. It's related to, I believe it's related to the Indian paintbrush plants that send up those colorful red and orange leafy bracts underneath the flowers. So I believe it's in the Orobuncaceae. And a lot of plants in the Orobuncaceae have at least a hemiparasitic relationship with other plants. In other words, hemi means half, so it's a half parasite. You can tell the color of the plant's green. So you know if it's green, it's photosynthesizing. However, it also usurps nutrients from nearby shrubs. Yeah, here's another one. I don't know if I noticed this. I don't know if I noticed these manzanitas the first time I hiked this. There are actually a few of them. I had to have, but I don't remember. Normally I'd remember something like that. Normally I'd remember a detail like that. So I love manzanitas. I love every chaparral shrub. I had to have noticed them. I had to have, because there are actually several of them in this area. I had to have noticed them. I'll have to check out my video to see if I remember. See, this one, yeah, it's non-glandular hairy. It feels like it's just gentle pubescence or fuzziness. It doesn't feel very glandular, but this one feels a little bit more glandular. So I wonder if we have two subspecies here. I'm pretty sure the one I just touched is Arctostaphylos glandulosa, subspecies glandulosa. But I wonder if Delmar manzanita, subspecies crassifolia, would be found this far inland. Because I think it's scattered from around Encinitas down to Baja, I think. If it even goes that far. I'll have to double check into that. So we're just about near the corral. And I see a use trail going down that way, but I think that's a closed trail. Oh no, that might be the Pyles Peak Trail, actually. Let me see. Let me get down there and see. Basically, now, roughly about the saddle. I think should be just about at the saddle between Peak 1399 and Pyles Peak. Now, you see, from a distance, you'll see it looks like a trail going up this way. It's fenced off. That's not your Pyles Peak Trail. your trail's actually going to go around the side of this. Ooh, Audubon's cottontail. So your trail's actually going to go around the side of it. So we're actually going to go downhill for a little bit more before we start making the uphill push to Pyles Peak. So just remember, if you're doing this hike, no matter what direction, you're going to have a lot of elevation gain on the way back out. You're going to have at least, I believe, at least 500 feet, I think, at least. So just keep that in mind, especially, and you're going to have a little bit of a distance to get back if you're doing it from Big Rock Park or Big Rock Road or Mesa Trailhead. You'll have more distance on that one. And I specifically chose that so I can have a little bit longer hike to get to Cowles. I really didn't originally plan on hitting Pyles, but sometimes when you have the time, you just make time to do it. And that's precisely what I'm doing today. So we should bottom out pretty soon, and we should have an uphill stretch starting that should take us the rest of the way up to Pyles Peak. Yeah, again, here's another canyon view here on the sunnier side, on more of a southwest facing slope here. That's why it's so much more arid looking. We're actually in coastal sage scrub now. We're not in the chaparral anymore. We're actually in coastal sage scrub. And I don't know how this plant is doing it, but this San Diego bush sunflower right here still has a couple of flower heads left. Pachyopsis laciniata. Once you get towards this part is where you start seeing some more of those, as we're out in coastal sage scrub as opposed to chaparral. And that plant's more of a coastal sage scrub plant than a chaparral plant. You got to be kidding me! A rosy boa! Oh, baby! I've always wanted to see one of these! This is a rosy boa! Oh, I've always wanted to see one of these! Oh, look at this! Oh, wow! This is a rosy boa! What a beautiful snake! Oh, I've always wanted to see one of these. This is the first time I've ever seen a rosy boa. This is insane. I've always wanted to see one of these. I saw something shiny. I thought maybe, is it like one of those metal wires sticking out of the ground? And thinking, it's either that or it's going to be a snake. And boy, this is a rosy boa. Look at this. This is I think the only species of the boidae family found here in far southern California. I know we have rubber boas. That's another species of boidae further north. Look at that. What a beautiful snake. Oh, this is crazy. Look at that. I think this is the only boidae found here in southern half of San Diego County. I don't know if rubber boas come this far south, but rosy boas. Oh, look at that. What a beautiful snake. Oh, wow. I'm taking my time filming this shot because this is, to me, this is a money shot right here. I think I'm going to put this on a separate clip too, so people don't have to watch a 2.5-hour hiking video to see it. Oh, look at that. Oh, what a beautiful snake. It's flicking its tongue, his or her tongue, just to check out its surroundings. Oh, that is beautiful. That is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. My first time ever seeing a rosy boa. I've always wanted to see one of these ever since I was a kid. Over 30 plus years ago. Always wanted to see one of these snakes. Always dreamt of seeing one of these. And here I am on the Pyles Peak Trail, finally get to see a rosy boa. That, for me, is a lifer for me. Oh, wow. I love herpetology. I love studying reptiles and amphibians. Oh man. Yeah, you could hear the craziness in my voice. I just hope no bikes are coming along. Hope that snake gets across into the grass before the next set of bikers come through here. Wow, a rosy boa. Oh, I've always wanted to see one of those. Yes, I know, I'm all emotional about it. You know why? Because I love seeing reptiles and amphibians on my hikes. And that's my first ever rosy boa. I think I might have seen him in zoos or whatever, but in the wild, when you see something in the wild, it's just a whole nother level of awesome. I think I've seen them in zoos or aquaria. But seeing that in the wild was really legit. All right, well, snake's gone. I'm on my way to Pyles Peak. I'll catch you on the next clip. Now I'm even more convinced that I made the right decision to extend my hike. All right, so we're a quarter of a mile from the summit, but like I did last time, I'm gonna branch off in this little spur to this little corral. This is just about 2 minutes after I saw that rosy boa. So yeah, I'll probably have a separate clip just for the snake. Wish I took a picture of it. It just laid there for a cool few minutes. So I should have got a picture or two of it, but that was so freaking awesome. So this is the corral. This is a little corral that the sign mentioned. Just under Pyles Peak, I get to enjoy a rosy boa. Man. Oh, man. Last time I was in Mission Trails Regional Park a couple weeks ago, I saw a Southern Pacific rattlesnake. I've seen king snakes here. I think I've seen striped racers, I think. I know I've seen them before in the wild. I don't know if I might have seen gopher snakes. And I've seen a king snake, so herping here is really fun. All right, well actually I'm gonna go take a break here and get a sip, and then I'm gonna start working my way up to Pyles. All right, so I stopped to take a few sips of water, and I noticed these red flowers on the side of the trail, or just off the side of the trail, thinking to myself, those must be Indian catchflies, Selene laciniata laciniata. No, this is I think this is cardinal larkspur right here. This looks like Delphinium cardinale, I believe. Yeah, so just minutes after that awesome snake encounter, now I'm having an awesome botanical encounter. So the W's just keep coming. Yeah. Or are these something else? Yeah, these are larkspurs. These are larkspurs. I think this is Delphinium cardinale, I believe. They're a little far off the trail to get a really close view of them. But wow. Yeah, so the botanical interest just went up too. Okay. Botany and herpetology. Two things that really get my juices pumping. Oh, so there are no bikes allowed here. Doesn't mean people don't do it. Probably. So my peak is a quarter mile away. Wow, man. All right, so let's climb this peak. Let's get this done. Get my summit selfie. Do a 360 up there. Start working my way back. Got a lot of climbing on the way out. Got to climb over that. I can see the trail going under 1399, down to the saddle, up towards Cowles Mountain again. So, yeah, I'm just gonna have to keep patient and just take my time and keep hydrated. Glad I brought more water. Brought way more water than I would have needed if I was just doing Cowles Mountain like I originally planned. But today, I'm glad I'm heading up to Pyles Peak. All right, away I go. Suspect I'm getting close. This last part's pretty steep. It's almost a scramble. Almost a very basic one, but you can step over these unless you're really super short. But I'm pretty short myself. I'm not a very tall man, but I was able to step over it without doing a true rock scramble. So I suspect I'm nearing the summit right now. The sun's getting very warm. The air still has a little coolness in it. So I'm not going to linger too long on the summit. But should be there pretty soon. We'll see when I'm up there. I should be getting near the peak. Whew, this is steep. Oh boy. I'm getting tired already. I got some climbing on the way out too. I'm gonna probably hang out up here for a few minutes. Not too long. All right. Just about the summit right now. Where's our marker? All right. There's a handsome western fence lizard. Oh yeah, that's a handsome one. Handsome lizard. I saw a western whiptail, but couldn't get the camera out quickly enough. All right, here we go. All right, this is it. Pyles Peak, 1,379 feet. So I think I want to do a short 360 up here. A short viewfinder. Because the views are opening up more because the clouds are burning off. Alright. Get a summit selfie and we'll start pointing out some views up here. So I'm going to do a short viewfinder up here. I'm going to start by looking north. I was looking north over towards Black Mountain in Rancho Penasquitos, that ridge in the background. That's the second highest point in the city of San Diego, behind Cowles Mountain, which is my first peak of the day. And then there we got that pointy one. That's North Fortuna Mountain. Down there is South Fortuna. And this is Quai Pai right here. And we're looking northwest. Again, over Miramar Marine Corps Air Station, that barren area down there with the white buildings. Looking west towards La Jolla and the Mission Bay area just over here. So that's Soledad Mountain, that ridge line above La Jolla and west of Claremont. So This is down by, that's Tierra Santa. And then that's over towards Kearney Mesa. And then Claremont Mesa is before you get to Soledad. We're going to swing it around to the southwest and get a good view of downtown San Diego again. There's a skyline right there, and Point Loma behind it. Looking south towards Lake Murray again. Lake Murray is actually a part of Mission Trails Regional Park now, or at least parts of the area. Okay, and of course here's Cowles Mountain, first peak of the day. Peak 1380 is right over there, or 1399. I'm going to keep saying 1399. Now we're looking over towards Cleveland National Forest. I can see San Miguel Mountain, and then Otay Mountain to the left of it. And I can see Kuchama, aka Tecate Peak, off that way, looking southeast. And I can see, boy, I can see a lot of peaks over here. I can see Lyons, Lawson, and Gaskill from right to left. Then I could see Los Pinos and Corte Madera, right to left again. And then Viejas Mountain to the right, Cuyamaca Peak to our left. Then I can see El Cajon Mountain to the left of Cuyamaca. I can see the Vulcan Mountains. And I can also see what I believe is Hot Springs Mountain over to the left, way off in the distance. And then there's the Poway Range again, with Iron Mountain on the right, North Iron Mountain in the middle, and Woodson Mountain on the left. Swinging it back around to the north, that's our 360. Now it's time for me to sit down for a few minutes, get some water, and start getting ready to trek back. Alright, so I finished up a water bottle and had a couple of electrolyte fruit gels. Or not gels, but purees. They're like it's like applesauce consistency. Little squeezable applesauce-like things. One of them had strawberry and pineapple. The other one had blueberry and lemonade or something like that in it. Very delicious and refreshing. There we go. I didn't point out much of this. Haven't seen a whole lot of it. I've seen some, obviously. It's common here. Spiny redberry, Rhamnus crocea. I got some hummingbirds. Look like they're messing with each other. Alright, so here's the little Pyles Peak sign right here. You can stop to read. You can pause this to read it if you'd like. But yeah, they put a little benchmark right there. Pyles, elevation 1,379. If you want to read it, go ahead and pause it. So Kenneth Powell, Chief Cartographer for San Diego County's Planning Department, named this peak after himself. Yes, it is surrounded by some of the most pristine chaparral in the park, and also some of the most pristine well, not pristine, but there's a lot of invasive fountain grasses, but there's some pretty nice coastal sage scrub too. I'll take a picture of this before and start heading back. All right, time to start moving back. There's my little summit rock right there. Just a little walk up. No class 2 or anything. All right, time to start heading back. Got a little bit of food in me. Hard for me to eat a lot of solid food when I'm hiking. I don't know what it is. I don't like eating a lot of solid food when I'm out hiking. I got peanuts and a pack of crackers, Ritz crackers, in my snack pack, but I also brought 4 of those fruit sauces, those little puree pouches with electrolytes in them. I brought 4 of them consumed 2 of them on top of Pyles Peak. And I'll probably have the other 2 either before or after another big uphill push. So I'm going to have some steep downhill for a little while, and then I'm going to have some uphill, I'll have some more downhill, and I'll have some pretty decent uphill to get up to Cowles. So I'm glad I had one of those splash electrolyte flavored waters, which I have 2 of them. Well, I had 2 of them, I drank 1 of them, and I'm going to save another one for when I'm trying to rehydrate during a tough uphill stretch on the way back. Somebody built a pretty interesting rock duck right there. It's pretty interesting. Right. Time to start working down. I think I ate those 2 pouches. They're really small. About that big. Really small, but I ate them in pretty rapid succession. I kind of shot them down. Those squeeze pouches, just turn the little plastic tab, open it, break it open, and then just squeeze it. Squeeze the pouch. They're pretty tasty. They got electrolytes, no added sugar. So they're pretty good for hikes like these. Maybe I should also invest in energy gels. Probably take those along too. I'm gonna definitely need some energy. So I'm pretty tired already. I mean, it's not a really super easy peak to get to. And also you have a lot of climbing on the way back, so that's just the way it goes. All right, enough yapping, and time to keep it trekking. All right, so I'm working my way down this, and I found a coast barrel cactus. I'm not going to step off the trail. Right by that rock there, that rounded mass, right in front of that rounded rock. 2 rounded things right there in the center now. Phaerocactus viridescens. Sometimes they divide it up into variants too. Sometimes they divide it up into varieties. I don't know what the other variety is, but if that's to be true, ours would be Phaerocactus viridescens variety viridescens, if that were the case. Some people call our coast barrel cactus Phaerocactus viridescens variety viridescens. A lot of them just call it just Phaerocactus viridescens. So, if there is another variant, I don't know about it, never heard of it, so I really can't tell you much about that. I could do some research. Probably do some research now that I'm curious. All right, enough yapping. More downhill, then some uphill, some more downhill, then some big uphill on the way back to Cowles Mountain and so forth. All right, so I'm just about to pass by the little corral. So I got 1.54 miles to Cowles Mountain summit. Okay, there's the corral. I'm not going to bother going by it again. I'm just going to keep heading back this way. I got to go up to that saddle, up and over that. Got quite a bit of uphill on the way back. So I'll see you along the way. Alright, still heading up this. There's Pyles again. Yeah, some great views along this hike. There's 1399, or the area where 1399 is. And my trail finally leveled out for a brief stretch before it's going to start resuming a climb up there. Definitely feels a lot tougher on the way out. It'd be nice to get to another reprieve. I'll have the bigger climb back up to Cowles, and then from there mostly downhill after Cowles. All right, head up towards that pass, and I'll see you later with more updates. All right, so I'm just about back at the junction with the viewpoint. Peak 1399. It's up that way, up that used trail. However, I already did it earlier, so there's no need to do it now. Still mostly going uphill, and then I'm going to drop down to a saddle, and then the big climb up to Cowles, or at least the big climb on the way out. So that'll probably be the toughest part of the hike. Because I've already done quite a bit of climbing and down climbing and up climbing to get to Pyles. All right, I'll see you along the way for more updates. All right, so I'm just about back at the Peak 1399 Cowles Mountain Saddle. This is where I start going uphill for quite a while. Got to climb all the way up to the top there. So this is where I start going uphill again. Oh boy. Hopefully I'll find a little more shade. But being here on the west side of the ridge should be able to afford me some breeze action. There we go. All right, well, I think I got a few hundred feet to climb. So here I go again. Up for more elevation gain. Resuming my hike, and come across just a gang of little bush tits just flitting about in the chaparral shrubs right next to this really lush spot here. But yeah, there's a bunch of bush tit birds. Such tiny little things, even smaller than the wren tits that I featured near Cowles Mountain. Here they are. Salter pars minimus. Gray, small gray birds. These are some of the smallest birds we have besides hummingbirds. They make those little cheep cheep sounds. Really petite birds. Absolutely beautiful little guys. So tiny, they're such tiny birds. All right, so just slowly working my way up this. See you on the next clip. Nice chunk of the way back up. There are the radio towers just north of the summit. And we're taking a picture of this little heart-shaped design from earlier. Yeah, as I was taking a break under a shady rock, on a shady rock under some shrubs. It's a rock outcrop down there below Peak 1399. I saw a huge red-tailed hawk landing on one of the rocks. I was just sitting there thinking, wow. No, I think I saw that before. I saw it before, but then I sat down and heard the screeching sound that it makes. Pretty cool. All right, well, still got a little ways, a little bit of elevation gain left, but most of the way back up, I think. So, see you along the way. for more updates. So I'm just about back at the Cowles Mountain Service Road. I'm going to bank right, head around the summit, and down the mountain. First, I'm going to take a break. Yeah, so I'm over by the Peter site again. I just came over here to take a seat. Have some of those electrolyte sauces. Yeah, I remember this shrub. White flowered currant shedding its leaves because it's the dry season. This is Ribes indecorum. Shed their leaves in the summertime. They're leafless until the winter rains. Alright. So I'm gonna pass over near the summit area briefly and start dropping down the service road. Take that back to the Big Rock Trail. Take that the rest of the way back. Oh boy, I'm tired. That last climb up to the junction of the Pyles Peak Trail and Cowles Service Road. Coming back from Pyles Peak is always a little mini butt kicker. Alright, time to start heading back. Alright, so I'm heading down the service road now. Gotta do a little uphill to get past peak 1199. Yeah, gonna have to do some uphill to get past that. And it's basically downhill the rest of the way, but probably will feel it. I'll feel it. But it won't be that bad though. But I will feel it, especially after doing lots of ups and downs. It's like a lot of ups and downs. Just be aware. Like I said, don't rush it. Take your time. Unless you're trying to set personal speed records. That's not what I do. I care less about speed records. I mean, if I ever did beat a personal speed record, that'd be cool, but I'm not intentionally doing that. So just when you're on the way down, just take your time. It's very steep, this upper part of the road, so take your time going down this. And I will see you down the way. Alright, so you're coming down this. Just appreciative. Nice views. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm feeling the breeze right now too, and it feels nice. Yep. Some very good views on the service road too. Get good views on the peaks. Just get good views here on the service road too. It's pretty nice. Well, see you down the way. Alright, so I'm looking my way. Now I'm over by the small mini roller coaster section. Just gentle ups and downs. Just had a small uphill. Got a slightly larger one up ahead. And peak 1199, which is off limits again. It's up that way. So yeah, it's starting to warm up quite a bit, and I'm definitely getting tired. Definitely can't wait to get back to the car. I am exhausted. Beautiful day out here. I just need another uphill climb. Oh boy. Alright, I'll see you for short updates along the way. Almost back at the Big Rock Trail. be turning left there to get on the Big Rock Trail, wherever that sign is. I got 1.19 miles left to get back to my car. So I'm going to turn left here where those people are going, and that's going to be my way out. Here we go. Get back on the Big Rock Trail. Here we go, folks. Alright, so I'm coming up on a junction with the Mesa Trail. Mesa Trail goes that way. You can come up from Big Rock Park or the Mesa Trailhead. But again, going back to Big Rock Road, 0.8 miles. So I'm going to keep on going down and down. And I'll see you down the way. Alright, so still working my way down the Big Rock Trail. Definitely feeling the heat now. It's getting hot out here. Ay, ay, ay. Oh boy. Might get some partial shade under these Mission Manzanitas here. Some beautiful Xylococus bicolors. There hasn't been much shade so far. Oh yeah, I'll get a little bit here. Still working my way down. And I'll see you hopefully back at the trailhead pretty soon. Can't wait to sit in my car and blast the AC full throttle. Alright, so I'm really close to getting back. So on the way back, parked at Big Rock Road. Go this way. If you're parked at Big Rock Park, go that way. I'm parked up at the end of Big Rock Road. So this is where I'm going. Those cicadas are really loud. Oh boy, so glad to be almost back. Pretty warm day out here, ain't gonna lie. Glad to be back. Those big holly-leaf cherries again. Yeah, I think those are holly-leaf cherries. I'm about 99% certain of it. This one finally. I'm tired. Go home and get some air conditioning going. I'm just parked around just a little bit up the hill on this, just around that fence there. Yep. This is it. The end of the Big Rock Trail. Big Rock Road, we're actually parked right there. And there's Shantung going up that way. Alright, this is it. The end of my hike. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed coming along with me to Cowles, Peak 1399, and Pyles Peak. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next hike.